Dear children who are watching us from all over the world, Your Excellencies, my friend and brother Chris, survivors, jurists, NGO partners, colleagues, friends, who are all joined us here today and who are also looking at the stream of this video. Thank you for your partnership and for your commitment. Commitment to join together with a single resolve to end the crime of child marriage, which is nothing but child rape. Just a few months ago in Afghanistan, a news came that a 6-year-old child had been married off to a 45-year-old man. And amidst the public furor that followed, the court system, the judiciary there decided that this girl is too young to marry. She should not be allowed to marry at the age of 6 and should marry only when she is grown up enough, which is at the age of 9. Afghanistan is not alone in this. Last year, Iraq passed a law similar to this, saying that a child can marry when she reaches the age of puberty, which can be as little as 9 years old. In Ghana, a 60-year-old priest married a 12-year-old child and only relented and annulled the marriage when he was explained in no uncertain terms that he will not be punished with a rap on the knuckle, but would be punished for the crime of child rape. And so he said, I don't want to marry this child, and I'm annulling the marriage. And even as we meet here today, on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly, 1,800 girls will be married off before this session ends in the world. And 1 in 5 children everywhere have been married as children. 1 in 5 girls has been married as children. When children have children, it is not only a crisis of health, education, and protection. It is the single greatest impediment to economic development of a nation, because the children are being taken out of the economic workforce, and not only are they subjected to rapes, forced pregnancies, and health-related crises, but the rest of the society also has to pay for them. This strikes at the very heart of what is development and what is constitution, what are rights and what is just in society. In India, 3 years ago, we began a campaign to make a child marriage-free society. It began in only 75,000 villages led by women and children. Today, it is on its way to becoming one of the largest civil society initiatives or networks in the world, using the rule of law at its core, at its center, for the prevention and protection of children worldwide. In less than 3 years, with over 270 NGO partners in India, in Nepal, and now as we move to other countries, but in just 3 years, we have stopped and prevented over 400,000 child marriages physically. Over 300,000 faith leaders have joined hands and have taken a pledge against child marriage. If a priest decides that I am not going to marry the children, child marriages can end in 1 day. If globally the priests decide to do that. So we joined hand with priests, with the faith leaders. And then we took this campaign to the government of India. And with folded hands, we requested the government that child marriage is not a civil society issue, it is a government issue. It is a constitutional issue. It is a rights issue, it is a development issue. And the government of India launched its own Child Marriage Free Bharat campaign, asking every single school child, every single villager, every single policeman, every single judge to take a pledge on a single day. And 260 million people took a pledge. One of the largest mobilizations in human history. In 1 month, The same Child Marriage Free India campaign became a Child Marriage Free Nepal campaign with the Prime Minister of Nepal joining in. We identified the most vulnerable families who were forced economically to send or to withdraw their children from school and send them into the clutches of child marriage. And just this year in 2025, we have linked over 1.3 million people with government schemes and social security to prevent child marriage. We have identified over 630,000 girls who were out of school and have re-enrolled them back in school. And what this has resulted in, my dear friends and colleagues, is that we believe that the prevalence rate of child marriage, which existed in India at 24% about 4 years ago, has gone down from 24% to less than 15%, and estimates say even up to less than 10% in certain states. Assam, which had a 30% prevalence rate, 1 in 3 girls were getting married, is today at 5. If we were to imagine that between the ages of 14 and 18 is 1 generation of a child, we do not have time to lose. And if we can save and protect this generation, the rest of the generations are going to follow suit. All we need to do is act with urgency, act with resolve today, so that tomorrow takes care of itself. And this people's movement which started compelled the courts to act. It compelled the institutions to be reformed. The communities that emerged and that converged destroyed that ecosystem. So anybody who's attending a child marriage started getting prosecuted. Anybody who was not registering a marriage and who was saying that I am providing food, catering, band, dance facilities in a situation of or in a child marriage celebration was prosecuted. And society began to shift its behavior. And they began to understand that the crime of child marriage will not go unpunished. This was the tipping point where commitment became action and action started delivering results. So what we most humbly share with you today is simple. This is a strategy that works. When I see that Sierra Leone has created one of the best, most robust laws against child marriage, saying that 15 years imprisonment is going to be given to a person for marrying a child or even for attending a child marriage, 10 years is going to be the punishable offense, then that is going to create the deterrence against child marriage. All we need now is enforcement. And when justice is lived and delivered day in and day out for this generation, it secures and guarantees the protection of all the children and all the generations to follow. What began as a humble call for a child marriage-free India has now today become the goal of a child marriage-free world. This is the promise. This is the resolve. This is the commitment. This is the partnership. This is our request, our prayer to each one of you. Help us. Today marks the formal international launch of the Child Marriage Free World campaign. We want to work with all the great partners that are in this room today, all the great partners that are listening in, and everyone in society across the world who believes that the rape of our children is not a thing to be celebrated, who believes that we cannot dance at the impending rape of a child and celebrate that child marriage. It is not an issue of only social justice. It is an issue which sometimes may even be an organized crime. With all those people, we humbly request, let us join hands together and let us work to enforce this rule of law, because this strategy works. Prevention before protection, protection before prosecution, and prosecution to create the deterrence that will lead to prevention is going to see the end of child marriage by 2030. Justice is not a byproduct or an accessory to development. Justice is its foundation. And true justice does not lie in sending someone to jail. True justice lies in the prevention of the crime, which is what we would like to take to the world. Prosecution is not backward-looking accountability, but forward-looking prevention. And we recognize that every child protected today is a citizen empowered for tomorrow. The goal is to work for behavior change. And for that, we need all the global leaders to come together. The leaders who are going to support this call to action to enforce the rule of law that exists in their own countries. The leaders that are community leaders, faith leaders, teachers, the leaders that exist in each one of us, and the leaders that reside in each one of the children that live in the world today. Each of these children is a potential leader. And that leadership of the children, that empowerment of the children must be promoted with a promise that the time for half measures is over. Together, in this generation, in the next 5 years, we shall create a world that is just for our children, a world that is child marriage free, that is child rape free, where we can look at our children in the eyes and say, we did not fail you. And that is my commitment. That is a commitment. That is a prayer. That is a request. That is something that I ask from each one of you. Let us join hands. Let us end child marriage and create a child marriage-free world by 2030. Thank you.